We're back at Mr. Vanderbilt's house, which to me looks like a perfect example of greed. Who needs this much house? Just looking at its size makes me think of all the poor people who don't have a house because robber barons like Cornelius Vanderbilt took so much.
With the money you're going to make...
The movie Wall Street gave us reasons to resent the rich.
So tell me, Gordon, when does it all end, huh? How many yachts can you water ski behind? How much is enough?
It's not a question of enough, pal. It's a zero-sum game. Somebody wins, somebody loses. Money itself isn't lost or made. It's simply transferred.
A zero-sum game, Michael Douglas calls it. That means if I win, you lose.
Painting here?
That's really a child's view of how the world works.
Philosopher David Kelly studies markets.
It's like we're all children sitting around the dinner table and a pie comes in. It's dessert time. Mom sets a pie down on the table. If I get a bigger piece, you get a smaller piece. But in reality, there's no mom there putting a pie down on the table. We're producers. We create wealth.
Bill Gates is a good example. He's now the world's richest man. He's got about $40 billion. But does his having $40 billion mean the rest of us have lost $40 billion? No.
It's been fantastic.
See, this is the fallacy, that there is some pool of wealth there that's fixed, and if I take more, you get less. That's not true. Wealth is constantly being created.
Gates got so rich by making the pie bigger for everyone.
A key benefit of Windows 95 is that
he actually baked a whole new pie. His software created new ways of saving time and money, created thousands of new jobs. Baby Doc got rich by forcing people to give him money. He could do that because he was the government. If he didn't pay his taxes, his troops could jail you, or worse. It was the same with Imelda Marcos and the British royal family. They got the money they have by using the power of government to compel people to give it to them. The capitalist can't do that.
Bill Gates may be just as greedy as Baby Doc, but to get your money, he has to persuade you, entice you.
We designed Windows 95.
To do that, he has to make something that we will willingly give him money for. All commerce requires both parties to benefit. Take the simplest example. I buy a quart of milk.
$1, please.
I hand her the dollar, she gives me the milk. We both benefit because she wanted the dollar more than the milk, and I wanted the milk more than the dollar. This is why often both of us say,
Thank you.
Everyone wins, unless someone cheats.
You see products advertised that seem too good to be true.
I spent years warning you about the cheaters.
Solar-powered clothes dryers, only $50. And what did they get in the mail? A clothesline.
Greed is a terrible thing if it leads people to cheat. But over the years, I noticed the cheaters rarely get that rich.
People wise up, stop buying the product. To get really rich, people usually have to work very hard at giving you something you want.
Better cars, cheaper clothes, faster food, whatever. The businessman has to win you over.
From day one, he has to be concerned with who's buying this. What need am I satisfying? And if that's called greed, then I'd say greed is good.
Greedy, vicious, greedy, destructive people.
Greed. Everybody's greedy.
It's not destructive?
No, a certain amount of it's probably healthy.
In their day, John D. Rockefeller and Cornelius Vanderbilt were depicted as evil. Vanderbilt leeched off the poor. Rockefeller was a snake. But the name-calling rarely came from consumers. It was competing businessmen who complained, and newspapers lapped it up, calling the tycoons robber barons.
You could not find a more inaccurate term for these men than robber barons. They weren't barons, all of them started penniless, and they weren't robbers because they didn't take it from anyone else.
They took it from their customers.
Not from the customers, they kept selling the products cheaper and cheaper.
Vanderbilt got so rich by pleasing lots of people. He did that by making travel and shipping cheaper. He used bigger ships, faster ships. He served food on board. People liked that. And all this lowered his costs so much that he cut the New York to Hartford fare from $8 to $1. Rockefeller got rich selling oil. Competitors and the government called him a monopolist, but no one was forced to buy his oil. Rockefeller had to persuade people by offering it to them for less. And he did. Working class people who used to go to bed when it got dark could now afford fuel for their lanterns. Suddenly everybody could stay up, read, learn more.
Exactly. It gave people who, remember, were working probably 10, 12 hours a day, it gave them a private life. The consumers were better off, the workers were better off, and, of course, they themselves were better off.
I'll say. So we can call them greedy. But the fact remains that their greed did more than make them rich. It gave the rest of us good things. That wasn't their goal. Their goal may have been just greed. But to achieve that, they had to give